Hello, one and all, to the first ever episode of Nerds, Geeks, and Internet Freaks. Welcome, everybody. If you are coming from my other channel, Tovwow TV, or you are here for the first time, I'm so glad to have you. My name is Tyler, aka Tovarish, and in this show, I'm going to be bringing you everything that has to do with nerds, geeks, and internet freaks. It's going to be great. So let's just jump right in. Let's get started. First thing I want to talk to you guys about today is role-playing on forums. Now, I know like half of you just were like, role-playing, oh my god, that sounds like just so nerdy, and like why would I ever want to participate in something like that? Why would I ever want to talk to somebody in some weird voice that I just made up? But it's actually not like that at all. In fact, I'd like to give you guys a little bit of insight to what it's like role-playing on a forum. It's actually quite interesting. So you create a character bio, right, with your name, your race, your class, your history, your likes, your dislikes, strengths, weaknesses, all of that. You have all of that. But what's really interesting about it is the role-playing itself. Now, the cool part about this is it's not dialogue as much as people would think it is. I think that my perception of it before I investigated it was that it was mostly dialogue between people talking with Old English and all of that mess. And there is some of that, there's dialogue involved, of course, but really it's like writing a book piece by piece, and it's really interesting. I was an English major in college, so I already have a natural inkling to want to write and want to participate and want to read stuff like that. But it's really cool because somebody will essentially set up a story. They'll write up the scene the same way you would open a book, really. But each paragraph of every chapter is written by a different person, and it's very cool to watch it. It's like watching a book develop as it goes, but you're a part of that book and you get to write some of that book. So it's a really interesting thing. I think that if you're good at writing, if you have any desire to write or read or be a part of some sort of story, if you have a basic understanding of Warcraft lore, it's definitely something to go check out. I'm role playing on MMO Champion. Information if you want to roleplay with me or ask me any questions about it, I'm going to leave all that in the underbar, and you'll be able to check all that out for all that good stuff. But story number 2, if you haven't heard of it already, which I'm sure most of you have, the blind man playing World of Warcraft. Yes, a blind man is playing World of Warcraft. His name is Ben Shaw. He was a member of the British Army, and he was serving in Iraq when a roadside explosive hit him, and he had to have both of his eyes surgically removed. Now, right off the bat, this is a sad story, right? You're like, oh, why are you telling me about this guy who got his eyes yanked out? Well, there's good reason. He plays World of Warcraft. Not only does he play World of Warcraft, but he raids. Not only does he raid, but he raids hard modes. Not only does he raid hard modes, but he does really, really good DPS. He is an enhancement shaman, and he has a seeing eye dog, if you will, who's a death knight in his guild. Now, everything goes through this death knight, whether it's a simple repair or boss mechanics or whatever it is. This death knight is essentially controlling Ben through communication. Now, the way Ben interacts with the world is using macros. Now, with the robust macro system present in World of Warcraft, this doesn't really come as a surprise to be possible, because if you think about it, he has a keybind for /follow, and it's going to follow his DK, or it's going to follow somebody else in the guild, and he uses target of target macros to do everything. So when he presses Lava Lash, instead of it just hitting the boss, it's macroed to Lava Lash his target of target. So he constantly keeps this Death Knight targeted at all times, and is able to interact with the world through target of target. So, for example, if he wants to fly one of the drakes that takes you to, like, Lord Yanash, or whatever his name is, the 2 that are in Dragon Soul that are, below ground. If he wants to do that, the Death Knight needs to target that dragon first, and allow Ben to use a macro to interact with it before he takes the flight path himself. This blows my mind. When I read this story, I was shocked. And I know a lot of you have heard it, but the reason I'm bringing it up is because I really want you to think about that. Like, every day, when this guy... Like, what happens when he logs on and his Death Knight's not online, right? Like, they don't know each other in real life. How are they on the same play patterns? Because that's what interests me. When I log on in the middle of the night, and I'm sure this blind guy isn't logging on to play World of Warcraft in the middle of the night, but when I do that, a lot of people aren't online. So So what would you do in that situation if you were blind? And like, how does he check when he gets online? I don't know. And getting invent in the first place, there just seems like there's so many hurdles that he has to leap over to be able to do this. But apparently he's pulling like 44k DPS on Madness, which is above a couple other people in his guild, which is pretty impressive. So this last week, his guild defeated Madness of Deathwing on normal mode, and they're going to be moving on to heroic modes next week. And I have no words. It really is just an incredible, an incredible situation. And people who say, "Oh, the WoW community's dead. Oh, nobody's nice anymore." Like stuff like this happens, and it's so great. I've read other crazy stories about World of Warcraft, how people have met, marriages, relationships, whatever. But this is just on a whole other level. Like, this is just an incredible use of the macro system and an incredible testament to the friendships created in that game, because this guy is permanently blind. No eyes. It's not like he sees white or haze or nothing. There's no eyeballs in his head. So this guy is doing this entirely through his hearing, through the macro system, and I just think that it's incredible. I really just wanted to drive that point home, how incredible this situation really is. But the third thing and last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about today, if you haven't gotten the email because you're not subscribed to the Razer newsletter, then you would not know necessarily about Project Fiona from Razer. Now, this thing is a tablet PC, alright? So they're essentially merging what our conventional PC is to the format of a tablet. Now, it's going to have Intel Core processors, all kinds of specs, and great things that you would want on your PC for gaming. You're going to be able to play any of your PC games. Some of the games that they have in like the screenshots, not necessarily that they're playing those games on the tablet yet, but some of the things that they show are like Space Marine and Fallout. Like, you're going to be able to play pretty much any PC game that you want on this tablet. Now, essentially, there's 2 controller pads that you're supposed to have. See, I don't know. When I look at a PC game, I think World of Warcraft, and I think, well, my Warlock uses 45, 50 keybinds, and that's just one character, let alone on my other character. And there's not that many buttons on this thing, so how would I ever be able to play World of Warcraft? But they haven't, necessarily spoken about MMOs, but I think there's quite enough buttons on there to play a first-person shooter, really. I think there's, they have 2 control sticks and 4 buttons around each of them, and I'm sure there's multiple triggers in the back, and I'm sure the whole thing is touchscreen as well. So it's a really cool thing. Now, just a few months ago, it seemed like the thing that we were looking at was the prototype for their Switchblade, which is the super compact, tiny laptop that has the keys that change depending on the game that you're playing. And I thought that was supposed to be their next leap into mobile gaming, but now they're coming out with this prototype, and I guess, I don't know if the Switchblade's kind of going on the side. I haven't really heard anything about it in a while. They were updating it at gaming conventions and stuff, and they were talking about how they made all these different changes, and how, the prototype was looking better and better, and people were going to start being able to use it, and whatever. And then they just slam us with this. They're like, no. You don't even have to open this, right? It's just a tablet. Just walk around with it. It looks like an iPad with freaking arms on it. So, I mean, it's an interesting thing. Personally, I don't purchase any of those crazy Razer products. I am a Razer product user myself, but I have no reason for a mobile gaming tablet thing. Like, it just seems too much. It seems like toys for rich kids, and I really don't find any need for that. I mean, who's going to be competitively playing Call of Duty on their PC tablet? I mean, not anybody, at least not for the next 10 years, maybe even longer. So I don't know. Tell me what you guys think about that in the comments down below. Is it worth putting money and effort into creating a product like this, or is it really something that just people are going to buy it when it comes out, and then it's going to sit on their shelf, and Razer's only going to sell however many, and it's going to be forgotten about? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching the first episode of Nerds, Geeks, and Internet Freaks. Please do not forget to comment, subscribe, like, click any of the buttons that you would like to click that benefit me, because they benefit you. Thanks so much, and I bid you adieu.